Winning a Grand Slam as a teenager isn't something many people can boast about. The number of teenage major winners is pretty low in the men's tennis circuit. Oh, and as far as the #1 ranking is concerned, no one, apart from Carlos Alcaraz, aged 19, can say they're the youngest ever to achieve that. Let's take a look at how Alcaraz won the US Open and became the youngest men's #1 ever, starting with Carlitos winning the US Open. It was already a pretty major achievement making it to a Grand Slam final as a teenager, because after that year that Alcaraz has experienced, he would have been Spain's highest ranked tennis player. That's as good as it gets when you factor in the fact that the greatest ever plays for Spain, and if you're better than him at any given moment, your career is a success. But Alcaraz isn't just your ordinary tennis star, he's here for greatness, and he wants it all. After making it to the first ever Grand Slam final, Alcaraz came up against another player who was enjoying a spectacular year of his own, Casper Ruud. The Norwegian had managed to sneak into the Roland Garros final before getting a spanking from Nadal as he romped to a 22nd major. Ruud was hoping to put things right in Flushing Meadows, but Alcaraz had a different plan for him altogether. Despite a shaky start, Ruud managed to make a return in the second set with some brilliant tennis. Alcaraz started well, but it was obvious that he was struggling as the match finally settled, and he just couldn't land a decent serve. In fact, his return game was a lot worse as he couldn't play Ruud's second serve. It was a 1-1 after 2 sets, and the third promised to be the turning point of the match. And it was, with the Spaniard getting a dominant tiebreaker to wrap up proceedings by the 4th set thanks to some superb hitting. Up next, the youngest world #1 in history. Despite the fact that Alcaraz spent almost an entire day on the court during his US Open run, clocking more than 23 hours of tennis in 2 weeks, he looked considerably fresh in the 3rd set, which proved to be decisive. That was the difference between the two, because Ruud couldn't live with the heat brought onto the court by Alcaraz. He had a fantastic plan to deal with Alcaraz's Showtime performance and actually executed it to perfection, but this boy is a beast. By the 4th set, Alcaraz had the entire game in control. There were a couple of nerves, and we'd be very surprised if there weren't any. He's 19 for God's sake, as he served the Grand Slam title, but he came through, and boy, what an achievement. With that superb win, Carlitos became the youngest ever men's world #1 in the history of the sport, and that's insane because he's still a teenager. He can't buy himself a drink in the place where he's won his first ever major. That's absurd, and it's been so well deserved. Most young players on the circuit make it to this level because they're extremely God-gifted when it comes to tennis. There's no denying that Carlitos is an extraordinary talent, but the characteristics that stand out for the youngster is his hard work. There was another player with that much hard work on the other side of the court, but he can ask why his share of talent was just a bit less compared to Alcaraz. Moving on, recapping Alcaraz's sensational major run. From being handed one of the toughest draws to actually going on and winning the competition age 19, Alcaraz is special, needless to say. He had one of the toughest runs to the final, and he was made to work a little too hard for his major title. Of course, if you ask him, he'll be more than ready to play another 5-setter today, but chances are he'd be done with you within half an hour at best. Alcaraz racked up 3 easy wins in straight sets, but things got super hard for him in the round of 16 when he came up against Marin Cilic. In a topsy-turvy game, Alcaraz found the corners when it mattered the most and came through tired but very much alive. But his biggest challenge came in the quarters with Jannik Sinner awaiting another meeting of the future Titans. Sinner produced one of the most wonderful displays of his career and was practically a game away from winning, but Alcaraz had different ideas, so he came from a set behind to win. In the semis, Carlitos was projected to face his hero, Rafael Nadal, but the local hero, Frances Tiafoe, caused an upset, setting up another 5-setter display in the last 4. This time, it was Tiafoe who came from behind to force a decider, but Alcaraz came through, scathed but hungry. The rest, you know, happened on a delightful Sunday as the Spaniard lifted his first Grand Slam. And we say first because there's no way he's not winning many more. Adding to that, the reaction from Alcaraz's big win. As expected, Carlos Alcaraz was the star of the tennis world on Sunday. As he lifted the US Open age 19, joining the party was his hero and idol, Rafael Nadal, who tweeted, "Congratulations, Carlos, for your first Grand Slam and for #1. We know these things can mean so much, especially for the younger stars." Similarly, another world #1 and a very recent US Open winner, Iga Swiatek, also congratulated the Spaniard on his victory, and Alcaraz was quick to reply, saying that he was happy to win his first US Open in the same year as her. There were some special words from Billie Jean King, who congratulated Alcaraz on becoming the youngest US Open champion since the great volleyer Pete Sampras. The likes of Rod Laver and Tracy Austin also congratulated the teenager for his fantastic talent and the way he managed to win his first US Open title. Similarly, the likes of Kim Clijsters and Matt Wilander couldn't believe their eyes as they praised Carlitos on a remarkable run and were left stunned by the level of quality on display from the finalists. They loved the maturity of Alcaraz on the biggest stage, and it was very incredible as they called him the most consistent player and how he won't be going away for at least the next 10 years. One thing's for sure, he's not a rising star anymore. He's very much climbed the ladder to the top, and he is here to stay. In other news, first up, Ferraro believes Alcaraz was born to play matches like the final. Carlos Alcaraz isn't the only player who can feel super good about his performance and the steep upward trajectory of his career. One person from his team who can feel great about all this is Juan Carlos Ferrero, without whom Alcaraz wouldn't be where he is today. It's rare to see someone like Ferraro tense, considering Alcaraz is almost always on the top of his game, but he didn't breathe easy during Carlitos' 4-setter win on Sunday. Ferrero revealed that he feared the time Alcaraz had spent on the court would catch up with him in the final, but was proud of the response from the young prodigy, who explained that there's no time to be tired like a final. He added that Carlos was always meant to play matches like these and the tournaments like the one he had just had, and believes that this is what separates him from the rest of the lot. In the same interview, Ferrero reminisced about Alcaraz's rise, explaining that the talent was always there, but it needed some work, and Ferrero can be proud of how the final article turned out. In fact, the coach revealed that currently Alcaraz is only at 60% of his true potential. On to Alcaraz revealing he's a little bit tired. Honestly, it would be very surprising if Alcaraz said he wasn't tired. The man played 3 consecutive 5-setters, he needs a rest and he's earned it too. When asked if the tournament run had taken its toll on him, Carlitos replied a little bit, but immediately explained how you can't just be tired in a Grand Slam final. He revealed how he's a strong believer in giving everything on the court, and that's his inner Rafa speaking. Alcaraz added that he worked really hard to get here, and there's no doubting his commitment. It's a massive win for him, and we've got no doubt that we'll be seeing more of him in the finals in the near future. Lastly, Alcaraz qualifies for NITO ATP Finals. Carlos Alcaraz has joined Rafael Nadal in the ATP Finals qualification, and while Nadal might not feature, a tournament win for Alcaraz would be another historic achievement for the Spaniard. Firstly, it'll boost his chances of ending the year as the #1 ranking player, and secondly, he'll become only the second player to win both the ATP and Next Gen Finals and the ATP World Tour Finals after Stefanos Tsitsipas. It won't be easy though, as the likes of Novak Djokovic, Daniil Medvedev, and Casper Ruud are expected to join Alcaraz in Turin. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Alcaraz has it in him to win the Career Slam? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.